Hi everybody. Um, I'm going to do a little video on using library services and just searching through the database and trying to find articles that would be relevant to your program. So right now I'm looking at the home page of SAM. All right, so here we are, home page, and I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to click on library services. Okay, so this is going to take us into the database. All right, so when we go into the database, this has kind of been simplified over the last couple of years. So I think you should find it a little easier than students in the past to do a search. So let's just say I go search of everything. I'm going to put in something on artificial intelligence, okay? So there we have artificial intelligence, and I'm going to say go. Now I'm going to have to refine this search further, but this gives me a starting point. All right, so because I'm doing this from my own home, and everyone in this class will be the same, I need to go in and put my username. If I were doing this at the college, and there we go. If I were doing this from the college and I were logged into my own account, I wouldn't have to enter this information. But because I'm at home, I have to make sure I have my login information. So it's just my username and password that I use for SAM or email. All right, so we can see, if you look up here, search results, it says 1 to 20 of 1,191,912 hits. So that's a lot, to say the least. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to go to the left-hand side, and I want to kind of specify a few things. One, I want it to be peer-reviewed. So what do I mean by peer-reviewed? If you have something that's peer-reviewed, it should be written and vetted out by experts in the field. Okay, so that's important. We're not simply looking up an article from the newspaper or an article from, some sort of entertainment magazine. We are looking for something that's academic. All right, so I'm going to establish that right away. And so you can see right now my search results have been narrowed down by quite a bit. And then the other thing I'm going to do is where it says from 1878 through to 2021, well, I want this to be current. All right, so I'm going to bring this way up, and I'm going to say from 2012 to 2021. And even that in this field is really not all that current. Like if I bring this up here, I could even bring it up to like the last 5 years. So I could kind of bring that up a little bit further. All right, so now I'm down to 162,000. And typically your best hits are in your first couple of pages. But I mean, sometimes you do have to dig a little bit, so don't let that discourage you. But the better you do with refining your results, the better your hits are going to be. Now, I left this pretty wide open. I just put artificial intelligence. So if there's something specific that you want, like maybe artificial intelligence in the medical field, or artificial intelligence in customer service, or Google Home or Alexa, like you could be really specific about that. All right, so I'm going to scroll down and just kind of take a look at what I came up with just by going artificial intelligence. So here's something that's kind of interesting in that a brief history of artificial intelligence on the past, present, and future of artificial intelligence. Now, if you are looking to do a paper on artificial intelligence, what might be a good idea is to kind of start off by explaining a little bit, what do we mean by artificial intelligence? So if I were doing that, I'd say, oh, okay, this might be a good place to start. So I go down here, I see it's in an academic journal. That's what I want. I don't want a magazine. I don't want a newspaper. I want something scholarly. I want something that's written by experts. So I know that. The other thing is, if I look up here, I see that for pages, it goes from pages 5 to 14. So it's 10 pages long. That is actually perfect. That's a perfect length for an article summary because it gives you enough that there's actually something to write about, but you don't have to read 25 pages because, you know, time is an issue. We don't want to have something that's really super long. Plus, the reading of an article from an academic journal takes a little bit of time. It's not like light reading, okay? So I see that there's a PDF option here. So I'm going to say, great, let me take a look at the PDF. And that's nice because I know I don't have to make a request for that piece of reading material. Sometimes you have to request through the library, and if you can avoid that, that's great because you're not waiting on anybody. All right, so I'm going to just scroll down, take a look at it. Now, I typically do this. If I am doing some sort of research, I kind of scroll through and like get a feel for the article at a glance. You know, okay, there's lots of written material. Good, that's great. Um, are there a lot of images, a lot of graphs? For this one, no. There are a lot of references. So although it says like 11 pages here, we can automatically rule out like a page and a half for references. But remember, those references may help me down the road. So that's kind of important to note. All right, I'm just going to go back up to the top. Now, how am I going to approach this? First of all, I'm going to read the summary just to kind of make sure, or if there's an abstract, just to make sure, is this what I want to read? Okay. Then I'm going to go down, scroll down here, and I'm going to take a look at how it starts out. So normally I read the introduction, like, you know, what is it talking about? Maybe why the research was being done for this article. All right. Now, this one is kind of like general information. It doesn't seem to be like an actual research project. So it doesn't have like a background intro, methods and procedures, results and discussion. It's kind of more general information, but that's fine. It's kind of all organized. This kind of actually seems to look like a literature review. All right. Which is what you will be doing for me is a literature review, just gathering information from different literary sources. Okay, so let's say I look at this and I go, great, I hit the jackpot. This is exactly what I want to use for my article summary. Perfect. What do I do next? Well, I would probably download it. Okay. For me, if I'm doing a paper, now I'm kind of old, but I would probably print it off because when I read, I like to actively read and I like to have my pen on hand. I like to make notes and I like to write on the article that I'm reading. Okay. But if you're like, no, I like reading online, then that's fine. You can just save it to your PC and then go from there.